Hello and welcome to English Country Life. Welcome to the garden. Welcome to the February roundup of life on the smallholding. It's howling a gale out here today, and that's about as low as the wind has gone all month. So hold tight for the February roundup. Hello, welcome to English Country Life, welcome to the garden, welcome to February. It's been a mad old month here. Storm Cockerel has smashed panes in our greenhouses, blown down elder trees, caused all sorts of mayhem here. Just as we were getting fixed up from that, Storm Dennis swept in and pretty much did a rinse and repeat, and we did it all over again. But we've been pruning like crazy, we've been getting the starts of the growing season done, and there's been lots of other interesting new developments. We have updates on the fertility testing of the cockerel. So join us for the February roundup, and I hope you enjoy it. You expect February to be a rough month weather-wise, don't you? And this one certainly didn't disappoint. We had snow, but the worst of it was the wind. We had gusts well above 60 miles an hour. Now, to be honest, we shouldn't complain. Other people had it a lot worse than us. And we've had driving rain, and we've had hail, and it has been horribly wet and horribly windy. Trying to illustrate that, I managed to screen grab this, which shows 63 mile an hour gusts at the bottom left there. And without a doubt, they definitely caused us some damage. Welcome to Storm Cockerel. We've lost half a dozen panes in the greenhouses, there or thereabouts, glass all over a gravel driveway, so getting that out of the gravel is going to be fun. We've opened the doors on the greenhouse hoping the wind will now blow through rather than blow through the gaps and blow more panels out, but who knows? I really wasn't a happy bunny that day, was I? Let's show you the damage. Look, it's not that bad. You can see 2 panels missing at the bottom of this run here, and the entire roof run that goes with them missing. And we've lost a couple on the other side as well. Could have been an awful lot worse. You look at this back wall, and this is after the worst of the gust. You can see the walls shaking under the force of that wind. The whole greenhouse could have gone. Ours are bolted down into proper concrete foundations, and I've never been more glad than I was this month that we did that. So you have to glaze a greenhouse from the bottom to the top. So although some of the top panels were still in place, we had to remove them. And we measure up to find what size we need to replace. They're generally old imperial 2 foot by 2 foot, 2 foot by 18 type sizes for greenhouses, and you can often buy them from a glazier off the shelf. Put them in. There's a variety of types of wire clip, but you need some sort of clip starting from the bottom to hold the panels in place. And then on the bottom panel you hook on these S-clips, and then your next panel will slide into place, and to stop it sliding down the frame you hook the base of the panel above over the panel below, which is why you glaze bottom to top. This is a new panel going in, and you can just see it sits and rests on those 2 clips. Then I need to put some more spring clips in to hold this panel, and on this run there's 3 panels from bottom to top. And this is the snow. If you want to hear something really funny, I re-glazed that right-hand greenhouse after Kiara, and Dennis came along 7 days later and blew out 2 of those same panels again. So I'm tightening everything down, and we'll reglaze it a second time. February has been pruning time, and we've got a whole video if you want to see it on apple tree pruning, so I won't go into too much detail here. What you can see, I hope, is that I'm pruning this tree into a nice open wine glass shape with a hollow seat. Now this is quite interesting. This is one of our gooseberry bushes, and you can see that there are leaves open in mid-February. So we need to get on with pruning them, because I like to prune when these things are dormant. And this is the full bush. You can see that we put all our bedding from the chicken coops around as a mulch underneath. It acts really as a good fertiliser. It means we don't get too many weeds. You do get, though, as you can see here, the odd deep-rooted perennial that finds its way through, and while the leaves are off, it's a good time to dig those out. Once I've removed that, and I'm trying to get underneath and get all the roots out, because let's be honest, that's how you make sure it doesn't come back, we can see how to propagate after that a gooseberry bush. The branch that you can see my arm touching has actually managed to find its way into the ground, and it's rooted, and that's called layering. You can do it deliberately, just peg down a branch, after a year, snip it through, you'll have an entirely new gooseberry bush. Anyway, on to the pruning. What I'm going for with the gooseberry bush is more of a bowl than a wine glass, but there's lots of thin twiggy stuff in the middle that sprung up last year, and I'm gonna go in with a heavy coat and gloves on, because these things are very thorny, and prune out all that young growth to leave mature branches round the outside in a bowl. Hopefully you can now see that. You can see the thicker, heavier branches and some younger stuff in a clean bowl shape round the outside of these bushes. Now that lets light and air into the middle. If we don't do that, we find we get mildew, we can't pick the berries very effectively. Gooseberry prunings we don't keep. Apple tree prunings, cut them up to 8 to 12 inch lengths and keep them for kindling. But the gooseberries are so thorny that they end up on the bonfire. But we'll use the ash on the fruit trees and on the veg beds. Here again you can see our blackberry is coming into leaf, so we had to get on with that as well. Now you can see this is our fruit cage, and we keep soft fruit in here, raspberries and blackberries. And the blackberries are on the left hand side, and you can see they've already leafed up. They've never really lost their leaves this year. So over on the left hand side we need to get those blackberries pruned and tied in as soon as possible. Take a look at this blackberry bush. Look at the base. You can see there's green and brown canes. The brown canes fruited last year. They're now dead. They need pruning out. The green ones grew last year and they will flower and fruit this year. It's called a floricane. So here I am. You don't need anything heavy like branch loppers, although the canes are thick, they're quite lightweight and you can cut them through relatively easily with just a normal pair of secateurs. I'm very grateful this is a thornless blackberry. If it was a thorned one, again, I'd need a heavy coat and leather gloves to avoid getting speared on all the prickles. What is also apparent here is there's too much green growth, so I'll remove some of that as well to tie in the better canes. And as you can see, you get a lot more canes from blackberries that are of a big and chunky size. Those will go on the bonfire as well. They'll give a good heart to burning up some of the green stuff that we need to get rid of, although those could be chopped up and used for kindling, but because they're quite lightweight they don't burn for long. And here's the finished effect. There's 3 wires running along there, and you can see that we've removed all the brown, some of the green, and tied the rest of the blackberries in a fan shape. They may look thin, but trust me, that will be a solid wall of blackberry foliage in just a couple of months' time. That's pretty much it for the blackberry. So you can see that we have 3 9-metre long runs in our fruit cage, and the roof is still off because there's still a chance of snow, and if you have a mesh roof on, snow lands on the mesh roof, it will collapse all the aluminium uprights behind me. So we keep the roof off really until the fruit is set, because up till then there's no need for it. We've got 2 other runs, both full of raspberry canes. Now we have a mix of primer canes and floricanes. Primer canes grow new canes this year, flower and fruit on those canes. Floricanes fruit and flower last year's canes. So you have to prune out the old dead canes that flowered and fruited last year and leave and tie in the canes that grew last year that will flower and fruit this year. I'll get onto that as soon as I can. I also have 2 beds of currants, that's 200 square feet of black currants, red currants and white currants to prune in, and 300 square feet of strawberry beds that really just want tidying up, any overcrowding removing, and getting ready for the flowering season. Whilst that bad weather's on, I've got to do a few things just to cheer myself up, and I do love sharing what we do. What you can see in this little clip is me taking some of our parsnip seed to pass on to another local grower who struggled with parsnips in the Lincolnshire area. And it's great, I think, to be able to say, look, we grow this variety of parsnip, it's done really well for us, only 15-20 miles down the road from where she is. Let me send you some of the seed, have a try with that, see how you get on. Sharing these things, I think, is a great part of the smallholder community. And on a similar note, what I had to do this month is draw off some of the vinegar from our vinegar cultures. We grow red wine vinegar, white wine vinegar, cider vinegar. This is cider vinegar that you can see here, and I'm drawing it off into these clip-top bottles for use in this autumn's harvest. But once I've drawn off the vinegar, what you can see at the bottom is a thing called mother of vinegar, and that is the material that consumes the alcohol, turns it into vinegar, and it breeds while it does it, so you get more and more and more. And the piece that I've removed from our culture here is being sent on to a chap who already produces his own home pressed cider, but has struggled to establish a viable vinegar culture. So using this piece of mother of vinegar should get him off to a flying start to get his own vinegar turning from his own cider. And all I have to do now is put some more of our own cider into the jar, and the existing mother of vinegar will carry on with the process. You may remember we put some eggs in to the incubator just to see if we were getting good fertility from Doodle, our new cockerel, last month. And this is a process called candling. And what you can see of this egg, which is a non-fertile egg, is the white of the egg at the bottom and the yolk at the top of the shell. And I'm turning it because sometimes those things are not evenly distributed, and I'm looking throughout the egg. Now look at this egg. This is a fertile egg. And not only can you see the white is much smaller, but can you see the dark mass that I've rotated towards the centre of the egg? Now that is actually ongoing development of a chick fetus inside the shell, and it shows we've got fertility. Unfortunately, we tested 14 eggs. The 11 on the left were not fertile, the 3 on the right were fertile, and Fiona spotted that she thinks they all came from the same junior hen, which means there's nothing anatomically wrong with Doodle, but he's not actually managing to fertilise effectively yet. Because we have some doubts about Doodle, we're keeping one cockerel as a backup, just in case he can't perform as a breeding cockerel. But the rest that we bred in the autumn, it's now time to dispatch them for the table. We can't keep too many cockerels. If you do, they fight one another to the point of injury, and even occasionally to the point of death. And also they overtread the hens. There's a competition and they mate constantly with the hens, causing the hens enormous feather wear and often physical injury as the different cockerels vie to be the one that mates. We try to use every part of the cockerels. You've seen our videos on stock. We even compost the feathers. Although we do leave a few, because we have many beautiful songbirds that actually find the soft downy feathers a brilliant nesting material. And that's the finished product. We've got 2 birds there, about 3.5 pounds, 1.6 kilos, so a very good table sized bird. We'll rest those in our outdoor meat fridge for a couple of days just to let the muscles relax, and then they'll go into the freezers. Talking about dispatching an animal is never easy. I hope I've shown it reasonably sensitively, but if we're going to keep animals, which are part of a natural ecosystem, we have to think about what do we do with them before we breed them. People want to breed chickens and have those lovely Easter chicks, and it's a joyful, wonderful thing. Half of them are going to be cockerels. And then we have to consider, well, what do we do with those cockerels? Yes, we do pass some on to other breeders. Yes, you know, we will use some as parts of breeding flocks that we sell in their entirety. But you will always end up with a surplus. Now, in commercial operations, a lot of the time in egg production, the younger cockerels are killed at hatch. And that doesn't sit well with us. And we want to live a little bit more gently. We don't have to work that intensively. So we vastly prefer to give them a good life, bring them up to adulthood, and then they become part of our food chain. So I hope we've shown that in a reasonably sensitive light. And I think letting all of the chickens grow up together, have some life, have some experience, is far better than the alternatives. Do you remember the chili seeds we planted last month? Well, these are them. They've done really well. Germinated in probably 7 to 10 days. They put on a decent amount of growth, and on some of them you can see the second set of leaves are now coming through. So they don't need to be in the heated propagators now, but before we move them, I want to thin them to 1 per module. The way we do that is using a sharp pair of scissors and just snip off the unwanted plant. That avoids disturbing the roots. Then we take the modules out to the heated propagator, and I'm going to put them into an unheated propagator. It's a solid seed tray with no drainage holes because we're keeping them in the house. And I'll pop a lid on that, put them on a nice sunny windowsill, and bring them on just a little bit further yet. Now that gives us, of course, a heated propagator available. So I'm going to get another set of modules, fill them with a light potting mix, which I prefer for germinating seeds at this time of year. And in these modules, I'm going to plant yellow Rinsberger. It's an onion I tried for the first time growing from seed last year, and I've been absolutely delighted with it. So we use the same sort of process that we did with the chilies, just dropping 1 or 2 seeds per module. You don't need to sow them too thickly because you'll just be thinning them out again. And once we've done that, a light sprinkling of potting mix over the top, and then just a very light watering to wet that down. And this is why I like them. These are the ones I grew last year, and look how well they've kept, even in this remarkably warm winter. Some of the ones I grew from sets haven't kept nearly as well, and I think that's part of the experience you get. Go with the varieties that work for you. The lovely people at Hotline contacted us this month and asked us if we'd be willing to test their new Gemini 120 fence energizer on the floof enclosure. Well, yes, of course we would. They tell us that they've improved the internal circuitry and they really want us to test it for robustness, etc. We already use 2 of these HL120 energizers and we rate them very highly. So it's no great hardship for us to swap out one of our existing units for the new unit and see how we get on with it. This is our electric fence electrical box in which we keep batteries, energizers, charger, etc. You can also see the web of Shelob, who is our enormous spider who lives in the electric fence box. We try not to disturb her, but occasionally we do unfortunately have to move her web to one side a little bit. Anyway, in we pop the new Gemini 120 energizer, and if you look at the light in the center at the top, you can see green flashes, and that's when the energizer is sending pulses through the electric fence. Quick test with a circuit tester reveals to us that actually we're getting probably 1 extra kilovolt from the new 120 energizer than we were from the existing one. Probably not much to shout about, but it's certainly at least as good. We'll keep testing. So it's all sealed up inside now, and we'll come round once a day with our electric fence tester, as we do as a rule, just to make sure that everything's working thoroughly good, and we'll give whatever feedback we've got to the nice people at Hotline. That was February, a right stormy old month. And you know, they always are, let's be fair, it's a winter month. This one, wetter and windier than most. However, beginning of March, look at it. They say in like a lion and out like a lamb, but March is coming like a lamb. Probably won't last, but I am going to make the most of this beautiful still day with blue skies and sunshine. I'll tell you, the floofs are really enjoying it. If you're enjoying this kind of content, can you spare us 5 seconds for a thumbs up down below? If you can leave us a comment, that's even better. It really helps the channel along. I'd love to hear if you're enjoying these monthly roundups, and if you are, we can do them all year. If not, we could do more making videos, more cooking videos, more gardening videos, whatever you like. Please let us know. But whatever you do, come back and see us soon. Take care.